As we continue our Emancipation Day special, we turn our attention to the power of music as a bridge between heritage, identity, and culture. Our next guest has dedicated her career to preserving African traditions through song, dance, and storytelling. Known to audiences as Empress Ajé, Alison Bernard is a singer, chanteur, cultural advocate, and the founder of the IBA Music Festival. And she has proudly represented Trinidad and Tobago on stages across Trinidad and Africa and made history as the first Trinidad and Tobago artist to collaborate with the University of Ghana's School of Performing Arts. And this morning, she joins us to share her remarkable musical journey and how she's helping strengthen the cultural ties between Trinidad and Tobago and the African continent. Empress Ajé, welcome to Trinidad and Tobago today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm excellent.
You look absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Love
you as
earrings.
well.
Thank you.
You know, I could see a fuchsia pink hair wrap popping that
I
blue.
think you need to sort me out, maybe as a show.
Of course.
So let's talk about your music. It is so deeply connected to your African ancestry. How important is it for you to really preserve and share those traditions through your art?
Right. Great question. You know, music speaks. It's a language, a universal language. And we have different types of music. And, you know, music appeals to people's spirit. We always think it's the physical, but it's the spiritual. And if we was to take that and align it with African spirituality, then there must be some synergy. You know, so the music tells a story. I couldn't do any other music if I am to preserve African history, if I am to teach it through storytelling or dance. So the music, it's like a synergistic relationship, you know. When you hear the music, you don't have a choice but to think of Africa.
I love that. Now, as Trinidad and Tobago prepares to celebrate Emancipation Day under the theme Igniting African Consciousness, Dismantling Colonial Legacies, what does that mean to you now as an artist?
It's a lot of work. It's a big question. It's very big, far and wide. And, you know, it's not just talking it's walking the talk. You know, a lot of people talk, but what are we doing to really demonstrate and be exemplars as African elders, as artists? How is our knowledge base looking? Are we actually taking the youth and walking them, showing them the path? I'm talking about the African youth, because it's no secret that they are, you know, going astray. And because there's lack of foundation, there's lack of knowledge. And if you know who you are, you know your lineage, it gives you some stability in how you move forward in life.
I love that.
You know, so I'm saying the foundation, it's there. But what are we doing in terms of how is the information being disseminated? Are we doing it in the homes? You know? So when people are lost, you don't have a knowledge of yourself. So you're like, as they would say, a shaft blowing in the wind. You're blowing here, you're blowing there. So in order for us to really do serious work, education.
Yeah.
Education and how we can say thank you to our ancestors, not just walk around saying, you know, slavery and look what they did to my ancestors, but you need to say thanks in a meaningful way, not in ways that will make them ashamed. You know, say thanks in a meaningful way.
That's
so that is why I think the culture acts as a vehicle, as a medium, to do just that.
Yeah, that's food for thought. You know, one of the most crucial lessons I learned, you know, when we were studying history in secondary school is, in order to know where you're going in life, you have to know where you've come from. And as you said, you have to actually understand and pay homage to where you've come from and the people that have really blazed the trail for you to be where you are today. Whatever walk of life, exactly.
Ancestors.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, you describe yourself as the voice of those who came before you.
Definitely.
Now, who are the ancestors and stories that really inspire your music?
Right. Who inspire my music? A lot. But I like to start with local. You know, Andre Tanker for sure. You know, and I'm going to use those that transitioned already. Not that there aren't persons alive today who continue to inspire me, but Andre Tanker, definitely. You know, and I did a tribute show one time to him at Central Bank in 2022, right? And that was phenomenal. Singing Sandra, of course, singing Sandra, you know, her music, her mannerism on stage, you know, she was one that spoke directly to my spirit in terms of the way, you know, maybe it's because we're from the same spiritual belief system, the Orisha belief system, you know. So you get that coming out in our music. International, Miriam Makeba for sure. Miriam Makeba. I remember when she came to Trinidad and Tobago and the Emancipation Support Committee, they brought her to Trinidad. That show was held at Jimpia Complex. It was like, you know, a wow factor for me. I can't believe it. You know, even in my set when I'm on stage, I must do a Miriam Makeba. So there are a lot of musicians, you know, that Hugh Masekela, a lot of musicians that really touch my spirit and give me that, you know, momentum to keep going and to keep representing the ancestors.
Now tell us about your journey as a chanteur, and how has this journey really helped to keep your, you know, cultural tradition alive?
Right. Well, Calypso is the foundation. That's the mother, you know. And for as far back as I can remember, even in school I started singing, but I really took it serious around 2008, 2009, when I started off doing background vocals for Ella Andel, right? And yes,
What
that
an honor.
was.
What was that experience like?
Oh, I would just tell you, people sometimes would say, I see where you get your the perfection type and attitude from, because she's that.
Could see it.
She is that, and I appreciate it now. She taught me a lot. You would think she's not listening, and she would hear a bad note even if she's away from you. So, you know, doing background vocals for her, and then she recognized my ability, and she said, you should try Calypso. But I was scared. Honestly, yes, I know it doesn't match your personality.
No, it does
but
not.
I was scared
We
to
all
go.
have our moments.
Listen, I was scared to go on stage. I said, me? But, you know, the rest is history. And then I got my feet wet, as they would say, at Calypso Review. I sang there for 5 years, you know, and I always want to thank Sugar Aloes for giving me that break, as we would say, you know, forever grateful to him and the review. And from there, in 2019, after I made the Calypso Monarch as a first reserve, after that season, I said, listen, there must be more to just waiting on Calypso, waiting for the season, or, you know, I must be able to do more. And that's when I started to do my own event, and it's the Iba Music Festival. I know most people say IBA, but it's a Yoruba word that means to give praise and honor, IBA. So Yoruba being a tonal language is pronounced Iba. And that's when I started Iba Music Festival. And I really had I always think far and wide, but I didn't think Iba would have happened in Ghana this year. I didn't see that coming at all. You know?
How was that for you?
It solidified in my mind that nothing is impossible, because I went to Ghana for FESTAC, Festival of African Arts and Culture, is an international event. And then I went over to Kenya to do some cultural work and getting ready to come back to Trinidad. But the ancestors will not have it that way. You know, I got a spiritual message to return to Ghana and do Iba. And that was scary, but you know, what it demonstrated was the effort of community, collaborative effort and coming together. I could not have done it alone. So, you know, I met a friend and I said, how do I start? And he said, listen, send in a proposal to the University of Ghana. I did that. I sold the event, the product. They liked the proposal, called me in for a meeting, and as they would say, the rest is history. You know, it was fantastic.
And now you're here sharing this with us, and we're so proud of you.
Yes,
and you're really taking TNT to the world.
Listen, the event was done also under the auspices of the Minister of Culture, the Minister Gomashi of Ghana.
Well, congratulations.
Yes, it was under the ministry.
So before you go, I have to ask you, what brief message would you like to share now with you know, everyone on this Emancipation Day, especially the young people, and tell them about, you know, preserving and embracing their identity and their heritage?
What I would like to say, especially to the youth, it's not, I am not an African, I don't want to know anything about that, I'm born in Trinidad and Tobago. You know, you get a lot of those responses. Of course you are a Trinidad and Tobagonian, but we all came from ancestors. We all have a lineage. Everything upon this earth has, a lineage. Every ethnicity, even plants, dogs, they came from somewhere.
Yeah.
So it is just a matter of being respectful and honoring your foundation, your lineage, where you came from, and being proud and respectful. So no one is asking you to dress in African clothes all the time, change your name. I think there is a, skewed information out there that's scaring a lot of the young people. It's knowing your foundation and how resilient you are by your DNA and what you can achieve because of who you came from. And once you know that, then it puts something in you that, hey, I could achieve. It's like, yeah, man, the footballer, you see the 3-year-old? People done starting to say that little boy is going to be a World Cup footballer because of the lineage. But it's the same thing.
And we come from such a powerful lineage, and we love that you remind us about that
Of course.
Well, Empress Ajé, thank you so much for being here with us this morning. Your journey is truly a wonderful reminder that music is more than entertainment, and it carries history and preserves culture and has the power to connect people across generations and across continents.
Absolutely.
And thank you for proudly repping the
Very proud.
while strengthening
Very
the
proud.
ties
Yes.
between our nation and Africa.
Thank you very
Continued
much.
success.
Yes.
And everything in the IBA Music Festival and all the work you're doing. And hopefully you'll join us again.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
All right.
It's my
Take
pleasure.
a quick break, and then when we come back, there's so much more in store for you on today's Emancipation Day show on Trinidad and Tobago.
We can live